Hi Massa, you wrote a deep dive report on the semiconductor capital equipment industry where you forecast the market to almost double over the next 10 years to $332 billion. Now that's assuming an annual growth rate of 7.3%. What's driving all this growth?
Yes, we just published a report about semiconductor capital equipment and the forecasting 2033 situation. So the major driver for the quite nice growth is logic chips and also DRAM chips related investment. And we are basically assuming that the overall semiconductor market will hit $1 trillion in 2030. And that could go up to even $1.25 trillion in 2033. And we are assuming that capital intensity, that's capex divided by the chip revenue, will be around 26.6% in 2033. That's a pretty decent assumption. So in that case, we can say that chip equipment market can achieve 7.3% CAGR from 2024 to 2033. And as I said, that logic chips, including AI processors like GPU or maybe CPU or ASICs, or maybe the HBM or DRAM for the AI computing will be the major growth drivers.
And how profitable is this industry? Can you give us some sense of the margins, the industry structure?
So if we calculate the overall average of operating margin for the industry, that should be around, say, 30 or 32% overall average. So basically, we can say that maybe there are only a few suppliers in each specific product. For example, like lithography tools. There is one big company, ASML, dominating around 90% of the market. And if we look at the quota developer, Tokyo Electron dominates around 90% of overall market. So in that sense, we can say that quite a lot of companies in this industry can achieve a high operating margin. So if we look at the Disco, which is a supplier of the back-end products, achieving 40% of operating margin. So basically, many companies can achieve quite high operating margin.
And which companies are the major beneficiaries of this growth in capex spending?
We are basically thinking that maybe top 5 or 6 suppliers can achieve a pretty nice revenue growth going forward, benefiting from the market expansion. And the current top market share is ASML, followed by Applied Materials and Lab Research, KLA, Tokyo Electron. These companies have a very advanced technology about chip making equipment. And going forward, companies are required to provide very advanced technology for customers. In that sense, probably I think that major 5 or 6 companies can benefit from this market expansion. And in this report, we are highlighting ASML, which is supplying and dominating the EUV tool market. And ASML has 100% market share for the EUV tools, which are pretty much necessary for the next generation processors. And also we are highlighting KLA, that is a supplier of the process control and the measurement equipment company. And we think that that company can benefit from the market expansion for the 3D structure transistors or 3D structure DRAM or even the chip shrink trend. And another company we are highlighting is Disco, and that is a company for the back-end process and products. And advanced packaging, which is a new technology, should be expanding going forward. So Disco could be a major supplier for the advanced packaging related equipment.
And is US tariff policy an issue for these companies?
I would say yes and no. Over the past few years, the US government already introduced some kind of restrictions, and some companies, especially US companies, had the impact. And even Japanese or other companies had indirect impact because of the Chinese customers stopped some kind of capex because of the restrictions. So they had some impact already, but they are well managing the situation. So as long as we see the similar level of restrictions, continue going forward, the impact could be manageable for the major chip equipment companies. And at this point, for U.S. equipment companies, their revenue exposure to China is stabilizing around maybe 25 to 30%. And in this way, probably situation could be stabilizing going forward.
And China is looking to localize a lot of their procurement. How will this impact these companies?
Yes, and in this report, we did a kind of a stress test analysis. So we are hearing that, some Chinese companies are developing advanced equipment. So what happens if they succeed? So we did a kind of a stress analysis and assuming that all demand should be localized in China, and meaning that global suppliers could lose the market access to China. So in that case, in the extreme assumptions, the market CAGR from 2024 to 2033 could be down to 4% CAGR from our base scenario of 7.3% CAGR. So this is the extreme assumptions based analysis. And it is not very realistic to imagine that all equipment could be made by China, and global suppliers can completely lose the market access to China. This is too extreme. So still in 2033, we think that the global companies can supply some equipment to Chinese customers.
Masa, thank you for your insights.
Thank you.